Your feelings should be subdued by your love for God. And love is it's an action, it's a verb. The God of the universe loves us beyond measure and wants to be our friend. He desires to share with each of us a unique, unbreakable bond. This is First Things First, a devotional podcast where for 365 days, first thing each morning, we are going to be getting to know God better. We're going to be seeking His daily will for our lives and seeing how best we can seek first His kingdom. In short, we'll be putting first things first. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome. What was that? Welcome back to another devotional. I am your host, Melissa Soul, and this is First Things First. Now, there's a big trend in modern day relationships when people are going public with their relationships that they do something like a soft launch. So they'll show you like a toenail or a fingernail or an eyelash of the person they're dating. That's what we're doing this morning. And I'm going to be soft launching or discussions on feelings. Today's devotional, I'm just going to preface this. Today's devotional, it's going to seem pretty trivial, and you might find yourself thinking, oh, it's not that deep, it's not that deep, it's not that serious. I mean, it's fine if people feel the way they feel and they want to act on their feelings. That's fine. It's their feelings. We can't tell them how to feel. Da 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 blah 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 blah. Good, nice, good. But remember, I said we're doing a soft launch, and I am not exaggerating. This discussion around feelings is going to leap so far, so quickly, that you're going to grab your imaginary. Well, if you're wearing pearls, it's all the better. You're going to be grabbing your pearls. I promise you. So here's what we're going to do. Today's the soft launch. Tomorrow we promised that we would go back to the Tower of Babel to get one more lesson. And then Friday, guys. Friday, I'm going to show you the whole man. The whole man. We're going to do the hard launch devotional on feelings, but I feel like context is necessary. That story is so crazy. I promise you that story is so crazy. If you read 2 Samuel 13, we will be looking each other eye to eye. We're going to be here. I promise you. Read 2 Samuel 13 and we're going to have a time on Friday. I promise you. A horrific but enlightening time. So, can we get to the soft launch now? Let's do it. Let's start with a word of prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you so much for your word. I pray that you'll guide us. I pray that you will give us your truth and help us to be desirous of having you fashion our lives around you, the truth, the way, the life. In Jesus' name, amen. So, there's been an interesting phenomenon going on in our world. It's the idea of relative truth. It sits in the broader context, of course, of relativism. And this inherently opposes the notion that absolute truth exists. That when it comes to certain subjects, there is truth and there is maybe how you feel, what others have to posit, but there is a truth. The source point of relativism and relative truth for me is that in opposition to objectivity, instead of having something that we acknowledge as truth, we've turned to, of all things, subjective experiences, the feelings and anecdotes of humans to be the compass of truth. We're in a world that tells us truth and knowledge begins and ends with how we feel. Trust your feelings, go with your gut. You will never steer yourself wrong or things that we are told. This world would like us to be our own moral compasses. And while it is right that I can't tell you how to feel, I can tell you that if you feel hatred towards someone and you kill that person, that's something wrong. And is it that you would agree with me that that is wrong because the justice system has said that it's wrong, or is there an underlying bedrock of truth for this conclusion that killing someone is wrong? What is truth? The line has been blurred when it comes to other aspects, however. So I think for the majority of humans, you'll still find that small percentage that thinks it's okay. It's okay to take someone's life. I mean, we don't respect the person did something wrong, or the person deserves this, so we're going to kill them. It's fine. There's a percentage of humans that believe that. But I believe the overwhelming majority of us believe that it's wrong. However, on other topics, the ratio is not that vast. There are more blurred lines with different topics in society, and we're being told to act on how you feel. How you feel is your truth. Your feelings are meant to cue you into what's going on internally, but they shouldn't have so much effect on your external decisions, your actions. They should help you process what's going on around you, but they should not guide your idea of what is truth. Is there something that is beyond the shadow of a doubt true? And remember, I said at the beginning that at first it's going to seem like this is not that serious. We're doing too much about feelings, that let people feel what they want to feel. But remember, we're doing a soft launch for Friday's devotional. As we're discussing, today's our season's devotional. When we bring our feelings into relationships and seasons that we experience, if we lead with feelings based actions, where will that take us? Let's turn to this story in Ruth to see how we can't allow feelings to dictate truth. I'm going to show that we can't allow feelings to dictate truth by showing that feelings, having the same feeling, expressing the same thought, can lead to different actions. And so we cannot allow feelings to determine truth. In Ruth, we see a story of a woman and her husband who left their hometown because they were experiencing a famine. They left with their two sons, and the husband died, the sons got married, the sons died, and it was just the mother and her daughters-in-law. The name of the mother was Naomi, and she had two daughters-in-law, Orpah and Ruth. And it got to the point where Naomi felt like there was nothing left in the land that she had moved to for her. She lost her husband, she lost her sons, and she had no more sons to give to her daughters-in-law. So she told them to go back to their land, to go back to their parents' house and move on. Find someone else to start or restart your life with. But here's what the daughters-in-law said. Feelings. Ruth 1 verse 10. And they said to her, both Orpah and Ruth said to Naomi, no, we will return with you to your people. So both of them they felt like they wanted to return to the land, that they wanted to go with Naomi. However, Ruth 1 verse 14 says, then they lifted up their voices and wept again. So they were both feeling sorrowful about Naomi not wanting them to come with her. But look at the different decision that they make. Ruth 1 verse 14, they lifted up their voices and wept again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. Verse 15, and she said, see, your sister-in-law, Orpah, has gone back to her people and to her gods. Return after your sister-in-law. But Ruth said, do not urge me to leave you or to return from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there will I be buried. May the Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts me from you. And when Naomi saw that she was determined to go with her, she said no more. There's this saying that they love to post on Instagram. If they wanted to, they would. That's not always true. It's not always true. And it's a misguided notion that ignores the hurdles and the roadblocks between feelings and actions. The line is not always linear. What we see is not always what people feel, and what people feel is not always what we see. Ruth and Orpah both felt like they wanted to go back with Naomi, but somewhere along the lines of feelings and actions, feelings were influenced that led to two different paths. Now, I'm not here to argue that Orpah was wrong for going back to her parents. That's not what we're discussing. What we're discussing is feelings cannot be the basis of truth because they don't lead to the same outcomes. That is what I am saying. When we take feelings based, the question I asked before, when we take feelings based actions into seasons of life that change, when your actions demand expressions that you don't feel, what do you do then? What is the right thing to do? What gets you going? What keeps you going? Both daughters-in-law showed great affection to their mother-in-law and even a desire to stay with her, but only one stayed. Only one stayed. The result of both feelings is that one gave a kiss and one chose to stay, one chose to cleave. Bringing this to our relationship with God now, how many times do we show desire and feelings? We go to church and we're on an emotional high and we're bawling, we feel good, and we commit to our life and we say, God, we're going to do this, we're never going to do this. We feel, and all those words and all those promises fall empty. They're backed by no actions. And it's not because, oh, if they wanted to, they would. No, you wanted to. People want to change, but it's so hard to change. That is why we should not allow our feelings to guide us. Or we should not look at feelings as a mirror of actions, is what I'm saying. We're on the emotional high. We kiss God. We tell Him we want to stay with Him. But then somewhere between feelings and actions, we end up going back. We don't cleave. We don't stay. May we have more actions than affection for God. And I'm not saying that you must not be in love with God. I'm saying your feelings should be subdued by your love for God. And love is it's an action, it's a verb. Now that we have covered today's devotional, my prompt for you to think about is, what of your feelings? What do you allow your feelings to control in your life, and should you? What actions do you want to subject your feelings to? And my song prompt for today is Lord, I Believe in You by Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir.